Howdy, welcome to Government.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
All right, you go in, Tony.
Good. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead radio show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey, Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
Hi, I'm so excited to tell you about my favorite thing ever, critter coloring books by Pappy Silk. They're full of super cute animals and cool stuff to color. I get to use all my favorite crayons and markers, and guess what? There are no rules. So I made a purple mouse with rainbow background. If you love animals and love coloring, you have to get these books. Trust me, they're awesome. Just go to Amazon and search for Pappy Sill and you'll find the whole collection of coloring books. Remember, it's a Pappy world and we all get to color in it. Hi, I'm so excited to...
party never ends. Knockem dead. Knockem dead. Comedy show. Throwing out your tricks, I'm gonna get my sticks. The mic is live and clear for you and all to hear. Knockem dead. Knockem dead. Comedy show.
BBC Radio 2 Weekend Woken.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree. It won't seem like Christmas if you're not here with me. And when those blue snowflakes start falling, that's when those blue memories start calling. You'll be doing alright with your Christmas of white, but I'll have a blue, 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 blue Christmas. Take it away, boys.
Good morning, everybody. Little blue Christmas for you. Welcome everybody to the Knockem Day Comedy Show. Let's see, the sound is working. Everything's working. Excellent. We got a lot going on here today. Welcome to the Knockem Day Comedy Show, coming at you live on Gov's Comedy Club podcast, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel. We appreciate you watching, no matter where you're watching from, wherever you're watching from. Please share the link on all your socials. And tell everybody to watch all the great shows here at Gov's Comedy Club podcast, including this one. We have a lot of great shows here, and we hope you enjoy them, and we're glad that you're watching them. Thank you very much, and we thank all the different social media pages that we share our shows to. I share all the shows on a lot of different podcast pages, Long Island pages, entertainment-based pages. So I just want to say thank you to them. We are coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club. Nice to see you all. If you are watching on Facebook, that's great. We appreciate it. But if you'd like to participate in today's show, ask questions or comment, whatever you want to do, you want to hear your name said, you want to hear your comments read, please switch to the YouTube feed because that is where we monitor the comments. Just like Mickey Delaney did. He said, good morning. Good morning, John Rusiello. Happy Friday, he says. John, what in the world is going on over there? We didn't see you yesterday. I thought you were getting your new teeth, and then I believe you're not. You don't have them. So what? No. What? All right. We got a lot going on here today. I am personally very excited. Is the camera too close? Should I? Yeah, I guess it's all right. Very excited today. We have for me, it's a very special guest. Judi Paseltiner will be joining us. Judi Paseltiner. I will be calling her Miss P the whole time we're talking because that's just what I'm used to calling her because she is a former teacher of mine. and I've had conversations with her before. Where she's like, "Call me Judi. You're an adult." No, I can't do it. So she was my drama teacher. She's the one that I always credit for getting me into theater. I had done some theater before I met her in school, but it was really she really showed me the love of. She brought out my love of acting, which led me to being in some fun plays, which led me to doing film, which led me to some great friendships and relationships, and which led me to doing murder mysteries, which led me to here. So she's the one to blame. So we're going to be talking to her. She should be zooming in around 11:30. So very excited. It's weird. How do you properly? You know what I left out? I said friendships and relationships. I met my wife from doing theater. That's how we met. We were in a show. Excuse me. We were in a show together. So how do you properly thank the person that is almost solely responsible for how most of your life turned out? So I'm always excited to talk to her. I don't get to talk to her enough. I don't see her enough. She lives down in Florida now. It's been several years since I've seen her. We haven't even talked in several, or even seen each other face to face in several years. We've exchanged emails off and on through the past several years, but we haven't physically talked in quite a while. So I'm very excited about this. I hope you guys will enjoy it. And it's funny because she had so much to do with my life. But there's so much about her that I don't even know that I've never asked before. So, which I feel a little bad about. So this is going to be fun for me, and I hope you guys too. Good morning, dear God. Uncle Tony and Aunt Lisa Lore. Britt, is that Britt down in Texas? Hello, Britt. Vicky, I'm sorry. I missed Vicky's comment. Good morning, Tony, from a snowy Rochester. Grease is the word, class of 86. Vicky, were you involved in the show? In Grease, Hicksville, in 1986, Hicksville High School did Grease, which I believe might have been Miss Paseltina's first Hicksville High School production. She was an actress. She was a teacher. We'll talk to her. She's in some major stuff like she, I think, was trying to be a full-time actress at one point in her career and then switched over to acting, which we'll be asking her about. And, so that'll be fun. And you'll see, let me fix the cameras. You'll see this little 18-year-old kid. All right, let me take Romeo's phone call. Hello, Romeo.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I had a little disappointment yesterday. Number one, I couldn't watch the show, but I told you because I was getting my implants.
Right.
And I was all ready for the. Who was that good-looking guy on the? Was that you as a high school student?
That is me at the. Actually, I said 18 a minute ago. I think I'm 17 to be exact. That is me at the age of 17.
What the fuck happened to you?
Lots of things.
Oh my God, you're a good-looking guy, boy. Yeah.
Well, it takes one to know one.
Well, yeah. Well, let me tell you. I probably looked as good as you when I was 18, but I didn't think they made cameras in those days. Anyway. Yes, so I had this wonderful dentist appointment, and I don't know if you know, but you don't go to a regular dentist. You have to go to an oral surgeon because he fits the implants in your mouth. They snap in.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I get to the office. I sit down. I register. I sit down.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting, and about 25 minutes passes, and his assistant comes out, and she says, "Sorry, Mr. Ristiello, the doctor hasn't arrived yet." So I said, well, okay, well, did anybody call him? Anybody see what's going on? She says, unfortunately, he got into a car accident.
Oh, my goodness.
And he won't be able to come in. I said, well, is he okay? She goes, well, we really don't know. She says, his wife called us. So I said, okay. All right. So I said, well, can we reschedule? She says, yes, we can reschedule, but we don't know what the status of the doctor is. She'll call you later in the afternoon.
Wow.
So my disappointment, because I wanted them for Christmas. But anyway, all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. All I want for Christmas is my whole set of teeth.
Well,
so I go home, all right, as soon as I walk in the door, all right, my cell phone rings, and I pick up the phone. It's the doctor's office. And he won't be able to see me until the middle of the first of the year.
The middle of the first of the year.
Right. I don't know what that means.
I was about to ask you what that means.
I have no idea. So I turned around. I said, well, what does that mean? She said, in mid-January.
Oh,
so I said, well, okay. What could I do? I feel sorry for the guy that he got into a car accident. But meanwhile, I just have to suffer with these temporaries that they give you, which don't fit my mouth properly, and I hate wearing them. It feels like a big blob of plastic in your mouth.
Oh, that sucks.
But I got to do what I got to do. All right. But forget about me. I tell you, you're a handsome guy, boy. I tell you, one cool dude. That's right. That's a good shoot for you. You look like a cool dude.
That was my very first headshot as an actor, and my guest Judi Paseltiner, she was the one that set me up with that. And then when I got the headshot, she looked at it because she said headshots are usually closer in just on the people's faces. She said, but that shirt really kind of fits your personality. She goes, so I would just leave it the way it is. That's what she said to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting that you would get a picture with Frank as well to see what Frank looked like in years ago.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll find one. And if I get to it today, I'll try. But if not, I will do it on another day.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm excited that you're going to hook up with your drama teacher.
Me too.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Wouldn't it be ironic if the doctor got into an accident and knocked his teeth out?
Oh, my God. Oh, my Jesus. You're getting worse than Kaplan. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was Fremder level stuff, right?
Yeah, that was Fremder level. Yes. That's true, man. Nothing to say bad, negative about Fender. I think he's great, and listen, my goal, my life quest is getting all or most of the Knockem Dead comedy family all in one studio, all in a comedy club, and have like a little party, like a little reunion. That'd be awesome.
That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I know I know you and I have talked about possibly, maybe even doing a murder mystery down by you or something. So I hope we can make something happen. That'd be fun.
Well, yeah, that we have to talk about because that would be a great, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have the clubhouse here, and people with all these old bluehead people that I'm around would enjoy it. I'm the youngest. Even though this is not a 55 or older community, I'm one of the youngest people here.
No kidding, really?
Well, no, we have families, young kids, and everything. But most of the people, this development was built in 25 years ago, and there's 3/4 of the people who are here for 25 years.
Wow!
So they moved down from New York in the early 50s. When they retired and stuff. So guess what? They're in their 80s now.
Right.
But they still play tennis. They still play shuffleboard. They still do all those.
And shooting drones.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you that was the funniest thing in the world. Boy. I couldn't stop laughing. And there's 3 guys that retired. I didn't know them. I never worked with them, but they retired from my job. And we all looked at each other, and they all gave each other like the sly look, like, "All right, which one of you son of a bitches did that?" And I'm innocent; I don't own a shotgun. So, but we all looked at each other and said, that was funny. Listen, I'll let you go. Let you talk to your. There's my girl Annie. Yeah, she just checked in.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. All right, brother.
All right,
hey,
man.
Listen.
Yes.
If I don't talk to you, I want you and your whole entire Walker family to have a great, happy, and joyous Christmas.
Same to you and everybody, your beautiful wife, Dawn, and everybody down there. I hope you have a great day, and I hope that we do speak before that.
Okay. Love you, pal.
Love you too. Bye-bye. All right. John Rusciello checking in. Let's see. What happened? Okay. So, let's see. Britt says, don't remind me I'm here. Why not? Vicky, I was in Greece and took her theater class. Oh, very nice. I will, so maybe I'll mention your name, Vicky, see if she remembers you. Good morning, Ann. Nice to see you. I hear my dose of sunshine on the phone, she says. All right, Ann, calm down. Calm down. Someone get him those plastic fangs. Oh, she's talking about, I think it says Britt. I'm assuming she's talking about John Rusciello. Britt is down there in Texas, and I miss you, Britt, and I hope you're well. Merry Christmas to you and your 1,800 kids and to your guy and everybody. All right, let me see. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm just messing with the cameras and stuff. All right. Oh, yeah, I still have that stupid picture up. All right. So, yeah, that's me at the age of 17 when I was a student of Judi Paseltiner, and she will be joining us soon. I actually wanted to talk about something kind of on the serious side before Miss Paseltiner joins us. Yeah, I wanted to discuss. So let me show you the graphic I've been shoving down your throats. We got the murder mystery. In fact, this is the graphic I'll leave up. The big show tomorrow night at McGuire's in Bohemia. Knockem Dead Comedy. We're doing a fun murder mystery, audience interactive comedic murder mystery at McGuire's. It's one of Governor's comedy clubs, which I am in the Levittown location right this second. Yeah, tomorrow night, the big night. Please come join us. We're going to have a lot of fun. We need to have a lot of fun. When I say we, I'm talking about us personally at Knockem Dead Comedy. We did a show 2 nights ago where there was a group of people that were there together, and there was probably about maybe 15 of them. I think it was their office holiday party. They chose to come check out our show. And the show, I won't get into a lot of weird reasons, but the show started late. Nothing to do with us. It had to do with the venue. But the show started very late. Now, it's a Wednesday night. People are going out for the holidays. They're celebrating. They have office parties, whatever. But it's still a weeknight, and we didn't get to start the show until 8:30. So, which means the crowd was sitting there for quite a while before we started. So a lot of them were drinking, a lot of them were drunk. But this one particular group, like I said, about 15 of them, we have an African-American performer who does the show with us. And these people, they were in this group of 15. There was a guy that was saying something to the performer, because our shows are very interactive. We're not up on a stage while you guys just sit. Our characters walk around and they interact with the audience. Fortunately, we've never had this happen before, but there was a gentleman who used a racist term when talking to our performer. And we were not, again, I'm trying not to make this a long story, but we were not in a good mood as it was. We started very late. They didn't advertise the show well. The turnout was not what we hoped it would be. There were just a lot of weird things going on, and we were not. So a lot of things happened that caused a buzzkill. So we were not really feeling it. We went out there and did our best, and we were making them laugh like we always do. But this one particular group was very rude and rowdy, which we can usually handle. But, more times than not, our crowds are respectful. They might be a little rowdy and definitely drunk, but they're respectful and they have fun with us, not against us. So we were competing with this group all night long. But to use a racial word brought it to a whole other low. And the performer was visibly upset. I'll be honest, I heard it, but I didn't know what the word. I'd never heard the word before. And I'm not going to say it. I just think it's in poor taste. But I never heard the word before, so I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know the weight of it. I had no idea until after the show when I was talking to some other people, and there were some African American people in the crowd. So again, I'm happy to say we've never dealt with anything racial on our shows before. This, I've been doing this type of theater for almost 30 years. I've had my own business for a little over 20. Never, not once did we ever experience any racial overtones. We've had some, we've had issues with audience members a handful of times. Maybe they get up or fights have broken out. But again, I'm talking really a handful of times. At this point, I've probably done thousands of shows at this point, So I'm happy to say instances are, don't happen very often at all. But this was a first where we had racial stuff going on. And it really did it threw us all. I was thrilled yesterday to have a room full of people in here with their guitars and singing because I did feel like it took some pressure off me. Oh, okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to get back to that. All right. Let me set this up. I see you. Hang on a second. Do you see me?
Hey, Tony.
Okay. Hang tight. Hang tight. 2 seconds. You're going to be on the air in 2 seconds. I just got to set up.
I just wanted you to know I was here and ready, so you weren't worried about it.
Oh, I wasn't worried at all.
You always worried.
Well, all right. So I will tell you, we don't see you yet, but we do. Everybody does hear you. So if you don't say anything bad, but okay. And now, boom, there you are. Now we see you. Judi Paseltiner is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Tony.
I have been just raving about this all week because this show is on. We're on every day, and I've just been telling everybody how excited I am about this particular guest. First off, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You have, yeah. I mean, I've known you almost 40 years at this point, and you don't look any different than you did back in 1980, whatever. It's
Can I
it's amazing.
start every morning with you?
Hey now. Well, that's a loaded question right there. The answer is yes. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I was telling everybody a few minutes ago, this is the first time we've emailed off and on, the past few years, but this is the first time we're talking face to face, and I'm thinking 5-6 years probably.
Oh, I think more than that. I think the last time I saw you was when we went to Bobby Seddon's play. And that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. We did see each other once after that. It
sounds, yeah.
It was your husband's funeral. That was the last time I saw you.
Oh, Tony, I forgot about that. Of course, I like that a lot from that day. But
yeah, I'm sure that was that was a crazy day. But.
So much.
Oh, of course. And that's why I'm so excited to have you on because it's such and I said it at the beginning of the show here that to have the person here that really kind of set the tone for my life. You're more than just a teacher. You opened my eyes to theater. Theater, led me to doing some great plays, to doing some film work, to owning, running my own company, to then getting me in this room. I met my wife doing theater. So and have some great friendships, and that all comes down to mainly you. There are a couple other teachers that helped open my eyes to the joy of it all, but really it's you, and it's how do you properly ever give enough credit or properly just say thank you to that person? It's a big thrill. It really is a big thrill to have you, and I appreciate it, you taking the time.
No, I've always said that teaching is planting seeds. And most of the time, we have no idea what comes from them. So to hear you say that a seed that I planted turned into a mighty oak makes me feel absolutely wonderful.
Well, that's a matter of opinion right there. I said that earlier, too, that I give you credit, but some people might be blaming you. I'm not sure.
I'm sure there are many.
Yeah, I think you're
We won't talk to them today.
Yeah, probably not. What we do here on the show, the show streams live on YouTube, and we have a lot of faithful. I call them family because they're faithful. They're viewers. They watch every day, and I interact with them throughout the show, and I read a lot of the comments when they come in. One of the people that watches the show every day is Vicky Remical Grimm. She was in Greece with you back in 1986. I don't know if you.
Years ago.
Yeah.
First show.
I said that earlier. That was your first show there, right?
The first musical.
Right. Oh, okay. First musical. She says, "Same beautiful smile as I remember back in school." She says.
Hi, Vicky. Thank you.
So, all right. Well, I want to start. Yeah, from the beginning. And I'm very excited because these are things that I personally, like I said, you really, helped, this seed become an oak, so to speak. But I don't know a lot about you, which I actually feel kind of bad about. I feel like I should know more, but I don't. So what got you? What gave you the theater bug? Who do you credit for getting into the whole thing?
I really started as a dancer. I was a very serious dancer. I trained at the American Ballet Theater School. Now it's called ABT.
Right. Yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
I was intending to do. And when I got into college, I hurt my back. It was just a stupid thing.
Oh, wow.
But I couldn't dance for quite a while. So a friend from high school, which is another story you should hear about at Music and Art High School, called. And he said, listen, I'm a lowly freshman. He was at NYU in the Bronx.
Right.
Which had a Heights, they called it the Heights campus up there, which was all boys. And he said, I got to recruit girls for the show. Will you come be in the show? And I went, no, I don't think so. I've never done it. I'm not interested. He said, Judi, if you are my friend, you will meet me on University Avenue at 3:00 tomorrow and be there. And I said, okay, I'll be there. So I went and I auditioned. I had never done anything like this before. They asked me to come back the next day. I went back the next day. They said the stage manager will call you over the weekend. I said, okay. He called me on Saturday, told me when to be there Monday. Rehearsals were at 5. And that's when I found out the name of the show, the name of the part, and I had the lead.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's a pretty good introduction to liking something.
Right, absolutely.
So lucky. Professor Bill Vorenberg was at NYU and was directing the shows. And I learned everything from him. I never was a theater major. I didn't take the classes, but I did a lot of theater there and learned from being in his shows. And I was at Hunter in the Bronx, so it was an easy ride down.
Okay.
And I did do some shows at Hunter. That's pretty much what got me interested in it and involved.
That's truly amazing to me because of how much knowledge you had. When I was around you. So that I'm very surprised that's the story. Yeah, I really.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you, because I've always said the best acting job I ever did was convincing people I knew what I was doing that first year at Hicksville. I guess the acting was pretty good.
So, so that was your first teaching job as well?
No, I had actually, right out of college, I taught English at Lindenhurst Junior High School and was there for Lee. My husband, Lee, was teaching at Lindenhurst.
Right.
And so it was easy for me to be out there. I got married while I was still at college, spent that last year commuting from Copiague to Hunter in the Bronx, which was long day.
I bet.
Anyway, so I taught there for a couple of years, 3 years, and then I left when my children were born and did not go back to teaching until they were entering college. In the meantime, I did have a ballet studio, the Judi Paseltiner School of Ballet.
Oh, very nice.
In the basement, we had a finished basement. And so I had kids coming in there for class. And in those years, that's when I started doing more acting. I worked at the Arena Players a lot, and they were in Farmingdale.
Yeah.
And then I got into extra work in in movies in the city and commercials. So I was going in, I was doing commercials, I was doing extra work, and it worked because I could do it in a day's commute. I didn't go in for anything that required long periods of rehearsal or going out of town
Right.
because I still had a family. And Lee made it possible for me to do this because, as you know, that kind of work can start at any hour of the day and end at any hour of the day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was on the Long Island Railroad, yes,
Yeah.
all times of day.
Yeah, which I will get more into because doing I've done some extra work and it just sucks. Plain simple, it sucks.
I loved it.
Did you?
I did. I really did. There are long periods of just waiting and waiting,
Right.
being available, but each take is as important as anything else and requires, I think, a kind of discipline where you do the same thing at the same time and you're available. And and of course, being around a bunch of actors can be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially if they're stuntmen, who would so many stories about how funny they were. But that also allowed me to do stand-in work, which is not like being a photo double. You just go and you sit there while they, focus everything on you and do the lights and turn
Right.
this way, turn that way. But it kept me in the middle of the action. And I feel as though I learned so much just by being there on the set and seeing what was going on. And of course, all that extra work gave me a good sense of how you move large groups of people. And that stood me in very good stead when I got to Hicksville and I had to move lots of people on stage.
Yeah, sure.
And I learned a lot about how you do that and also how I can feed people in the background when there are scenes going on in the front. It didn't have to just be static. I felt as though I learned a lot by doing it.
I agree with everything you just said. When I said it sucks, I was just talking about because extras they're like the lowest of the lows, So you didn't get fed until everybody else was fed, and there's a lot of hours of just waiting to even get called to go do the scene you're there for. And yeah, I there plenty of nights I'm coming home at 2 or 3 in the morning. When I was told it was just a 5-hour shoot or something. That kind of stuff is what I meant.
Yeah, it was hours, but
Yeah.
I was lucky enough when I got into that, I was already in SAG. I had gotten into SAG doing commercials. So being in the union is a whole different ballgame
Yes.
because we had rules, regulations, penalties, all kinds of things.
Right.
And it's not, no, being a non-union extra, yes, is definitely the bottom of the barrel. I hear you. That part of it really is bad.
So that's interesting. So you went to teaching out of college. I just assumed because you mentioned the extra work, and I'm familiar with some of the work you've done. So I, of course, you know what? And I think I do have I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I do have a picture, which the viewers will see. If you watch it, if you check it out later on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. But I am showing right now a still of you and Roy Scheider from All That Jazz.
That's right.
Which I won't tease you too much about the line you had in that movie. That was a big talk among us students back in Hicksville High School, by the way.
I was so hoping nobody would know.
Well, now it's fantastic, and it was always fantastic. But to get a line just because of the film work you had been in. In fact, I showed the picture, but I remember Brewster's Millions. There's a clear shot of you. I remember a few, and so I just assumed though that you went out of after college, you went on and you were trying to, make it. So is that not the case?
No, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
I got married at the end of my junior year of college and commuted my senior year and then started teaching and then had my studio. And it wasn't until my children were old enough to be left when they were in school that I started going into the city to do all of this. And the way I got that jazz job was as a dance extra. Bob Fosse was planning to do a documentary on the audition process for dance. There were 200 people called to be dance extras for that big scene on stage at Palace Theater. And he was running that week. We were told it was going to be run like regular auditions, where they divide you into groups and you do your routine. He had the same sequence combination of steps that he used for all of his auditions. He did them to the music of T for Two, which had the same beat as the one that he used in the movie. And that's what we all knew was going to happen, that there would be eliminations every day. And the first day we spent the morning learning the combinations. And I have to say, Bob Fosse was amazing. We were up in the mezzanine and he came up and took the time out from his other work to talk to all of us and explain what we were going to be doing. He really made us feel important.
Wow.
Just a bunch of people out there. And then we did go through the whole sequence of groups and dancing and moving and then move around in groups. And there was a break and I was just sitting there on the stage and people went to get water, make phone calls, whatever. And I looked up and he was standing there with the assistant director and they were clearly talking about me. And I thought, oh no, first day and I'm already being first one cut.
Right.
And they went away, and of course my heart was in my stomach. And a little while later, he came back with a dance captain, Catherine, and it was the same deal. And I knew that there was something. And so I was sure that I had done something egregious. And a little bit later, I went over to Catherine. She was more approachable. And I said, did I do something wrong? I know. She said, no, Bob picked you out. He likes your dancing. He likes you. He's giving you a line.
Wow.
Oh, wow. What's the line? She said, no, I can't tell you. She said, but just keep it quiet for now. But that's what it is. Don't feel bad. So, of course, I felt wonderful.
Yeah.
And from that point on, for the next 3 days of shooting, he spent a week shooting this because he expected to do a documentary on it. So he spent a lot of time on it. And I felt like the girl in 42nd Street who got pulled out of the course. Where's Judi? Where's Judi? Put her in this group. Put her in that group. And then, of course, I had the close-up with Roy Scheider, which was amazing.
Yeah, I bet.
And each day I went home and I said, I got a line. And I said, what is it? I said, I don't know. And the next day, what's your line? I don't know. And the next day, what's your line? I said, I can't tell you. Little.
That's great.
It was funny, but the day I went in to shoot it, I went in the stage door of the Palace Theater, which of course was very exciting to be able to walk in the stage door. And everybody, the crew was lined up. Everyone was lined up there with cameras on me. And I was thinking, what's going on? And then I learned they wanted a close-up of me when they told me what my line was going to be. And I learned afterwards that he was looking for somebody who was a good enough dancer to make it through those early days of audition cuts, and then somebody where it looked unlikely that she would be saying this. And boy, did they get the right person.
Yeah, that definitely, they had a good eye. That definitely fit, yeah.
It was definitely not part of my vocabulary
Right.
in those days.
So what was that like then for you? Like, was it weird to go back to family and friends to tell them about your very first line in a major motion picture, knowing that was the line?
No, not really.
Yeah.
But I have to say, the day that I shot that was a transformative day for me, not for that reason, but because our scene was being shot in the afternoon. And so in the morning, I sat there in the theater with the other dancer who was in my little scene, and Anne Reinking, who was shooting later in the day, and watched Bob Fosse shooting one of the dance sequences in the movie. And it was complicated, and it had leaps and turns, and they had to travel across the stage and end on their mark. And it was difficult to do. And they did it over and over and over. And he stopped them. He said, listen, we're behind time, behind money. I really need you to hit that mark. They did it again and again and again. And it went on for a long, long time. And it wasn't working. And finally, he stood up, took the cigarette that was always dangling from his mouth, threw it down, walked up onto the stage, and I thought, I'm going to get to see him yell. And he stood there and looked each dancer in the eye and said to them, what can I do to help you hit that mark?
Wow.
And for me, that was transformative. And then he went, each person at a time, what do you need? And this one wanted something to spot out there. He sent a crew member up with a white flag up in the second mezzanine, and somebody else needed something to spot on. Each one said what he thought he needed. In 2 takes, they had it.
Wow.
But that experience really was transformative for me because I tried to remember that and use it when I was working with all the kids on the shows, where things got frustrating and difficult and they didn't work and it was, stressful. And I tried to remember that he took the responsibility on himself to make it work. That by my yelling at the kids and having a temper tantrum was not the solution and was not a luxury that I could allow myself. It was up to me to solve the problem for them because they were working hard. If they were fooling around and not trying,
Oh, sure.
a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
And then I had no problem laying them low.
Oh, yeah.
But they were working and trying, and it wasn't working. Because of that experience, I was very much aware of the fact that I had to make it right. I was doing something wrong or not doing what needed to be done.
That's very interesting. You're telling that story, I was thinking the same thing. Wow, and I thought your transformation was gonna be all the yelling, all that doing it over and over. That I thought you were gonna say that turned you off. So to hear him, like you said, take that responsibility, that's amazing. But then as
Totally my inspiration.
Right.
That's why I started it.
Yeah. And I could see, and all these through the years directing myself and writing and getting involved. I love the whole creative process. So I'm cool with doing things over and over and over. But
I was a rehearsaholic.
Yes.
I never had rehearsals.
Yeah. But it's the whole team and the whole creative thing. I could do it all day, but it can be frustrating, and you do hear horror stories. So so that's where I thought the story was going. So hearing that as a director too, and of course I'm soaking that in, thinking, that is because it can be so easy to just flip out, and there's usually a lot of reasons to flip out.
Totally, yeah.
It's
tough stuff.
Yeah.
It's tough stuff. It's stressful.
Mhm.
It's stressful. And I know that I was always trying to remind the kids that it's the situation that's stressful. We're having a problem. It's the situation that we're thrown in. Don't turn on each other because of it, which is easy to do. Tempers get short. People are tired.
Oh, yeah.
Don't turn on each other. They're not causing the stress.
Was it? But was it? Because I think in the emails that we've been exchanging lately, and I may have mentioned it on here. What really impressed me back then about you was the level of professionalism. I kind of, I don't know why, but I definitely felt it back then. I knew that this was not your typical high school production. Like I knew that our game was up a little bit because we had somebody, that was just a true professional, talented. Not to mention, the musical director, Mr. Arnold, was very talented. Mr. Quinlan, who was a gym teacher, health teacher during the day, but made amazing sets. So being as talented as you are and as professional, and you took it as seriously as you did, and as you just mentioned, it's so stressful putting it together. And you're talking about Bob Fosse, who's a legend, doesn't even truly describe him. But now you're talking about high school kids who, aren't as experienced, still have so much to learn. Like you said, some are just there I don't know, because mommy and daddy are making them do it. So some of them are acting up. So I would think, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I would think that it's even more stressful because you're dealing with, these little brats.
I never thought of them like that. I really love high school students. I love teenagers. And the thing is that when I got to Hicksville, there was no theater program. So I had to build it.
Yes.
And I had no idea what kind of pool of ability or interest I'd be drawing from. And I knew that having done so much theater myself, and most of it in college and working with the arena players, we did a different show, another show a month.
Right.
And I really believe that when there is an audience, you owe them your very best. That they don't come to see you fool around. They don't come to see you not do your best. And I wanted to do good theater. And the fact that we were in a high school was just that's where we happened to be. We were going to do the best theater that we could possibly do. And I wound up with such an amazing talent pool in Hicksville. To this day, I am amazed at how much real talent there is in that town. And each year, and people would say, your show was so great. How are you going to top this next year?
Right.
And next year, there were more kids who came up with amazing, amazing talent and commitment. And it made my job wonderful. I think I was so lucky to be able to work with such amazing talent. We were doing theater. It wasn't school anymore. It was theater.
Yeah. Agreed 100%. Like I said, you true professional. And I'm very fortunate. I love just soaking it all in. And I also noticed too and I do think it's still this way, not just Hicksville, but everywhere, the line between the cool jock and the nerdy singers and actors, like that line has been blurred. It's become almost equally as cool to do either one, if not both.
Well, maybe almost, but I ran into that problem because we never had enough boys, and not until maybe later on. We had a few times when we had a lot of boys, and that's when I did Guys and Dolls.
Right. Yes.
For Anything Goes, we needed sailors. We needed guys in the background, and it was not cool. But I think one of the girls had a boyfriend who was on the football team, and she kind of coerced him and some of his friends to come out and be in the show.
Right.
And they really didn't want to do it. And they said, "Do we have to wear tights?" I went, "No, you don't have to wear tights. You have to wear sailor hats." And so that was cool. That was okay. And I promised them that I wouldn't have them do anything that would embarrass them. They could just be in the background in their sailor hats, and during the dance numbers, be there to lift the girls so that we could do lifts, which looked really, really nice. And they were terrific, and we did this, and I kept my word, and I was very careful not to have them do anything that they might be a little unsure about. And at one point, a couple of them came to me and said, everybody else is doing all this cool stuff. How come we don't get to do anything?
Right.
Oh, you want to do something? Okay. And once they got over the idea of not being cool, and afraid of being on stage and looking out, they loved it. And they discovered what so many people have discovered, that acting on stage, performing is really a lot of fun. It's stressful. It has all the other stuff that goes with it.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous amount of fun.
And I do remember how excited those guys were, the sailors, when not only did they ask to do more, but then you gave them each, it was at least one line each. Maybe might have been two or three, I forget, but it was at least one line each. And I do remember how excited they were to actually have a line. So, yeah, they definitely got into it as time went on, which I thought was great.
Which goes to show that if you don't ever try it because you're afraid of it, you're missing out on a lot of fun.
Right. And of course...
They had a girlfriend.
Well, yeah, and I think that was part of it, too. They discovered, there's a lot of girls here. That's a good motivator right there. And I of course would have to mention Brian Thomas. His sister Chris is a regular on this show. She comes in here quite often. She was just in here with me, I think it was last week. And I talk about Brian a lot. He was a close friend. And it was during Anything Goes that me and him were friends already, and we would joke around in school, but it was Anything Goes that we really became close friends. And he was a perfect example. I mean, he was a beast of a guy, looked like he would kill you, but always had the biggest smile and always wanted to joke around. And he was the one that got into it more than any of the other football players. I mean, he ended up with a pretty meaty part in the show, and he loved every second of it. And again, it's those things that you don't even really think about when you think about a show and putting on the show, but the relationships that come out of it. There's so many positives. It's not just doing a show. There's a lot of ingredients involved.
Definitely a lot of bonding, but we cannot get off Anything Goes without mentioning you as Moonface Martin.
Yeah.
The part was made for you, and I can still remember when you did the number Be Like the Bluebird, which was a very silly number. There you were, tough gangster, and then all of a sudden you break into song with this silly number called Be Like the Bluebird. And when we took it to the elementary schools, I used to take some numbers around to the elementary schools to introduce the kids to the show and theater. And you did that number for them, and the kids got hysterical laughing.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you in that moment discover, wow, I'm funny. And we did it each time. We did 8 different shows in 2 days. We went from one school to the next.
Yeah.
And by the time we got back to the high school for our major full tech rehearsals, you had opened up and transformed that number. You had made it your own. And I really felt that those days at the elementary schools were very valuable all around for the actors, because it gave you 8 rehearsals.
Right.
Warm up and really get used to it. And for the kids who were experiencing live theater, they used to come perfectly behaved groups sitting on the floor and watching. And I talked to them, told them what was happening. Of course, I was trying to drum up business, to have them come to the show. But it really worked, and they saw other students performing. And then I developed it so that at the end, each student introduced himself, told who he was and what else he did. And here they're seeing guys in particular saying, oh yeah, I'm also on the football team, and I run track, or I play tennis, I'm in the honor society, I'm in the French club, so that the students could see how much more there was to do. And then I always ended it with a very, very spontaneous, unrehearsed line. You've been such a wonderful audience that the cast would like to meet you. Is it okay if they come say hello? And of course they said yes. And everybody went out to talk to the kids. And in 10 seconds, I had turned a perfectly behaved group into total chaos. Because they were so excited. And then after a couple of minutes, then we would leave and go on to the next school. So I felt that was one of the really important things that I brought to school and to the students. It was, as I say, transformative for you.
It was totally transformative for me, and I appreciate the nice words. And yeah, that was it was those performances that totally changed my whole life. I originally got in. I'd done some theater previously. Like you said, there was no theater program, and yeah, that's a whole other story why there was no theater program. But I was involved with the teacher that had the program before you, and that fell apart. And then I just didn't stay with it. I just was doing other things as a kid, and then I got into it in senior year, and that's when I met you. But I wasn't. My main motivation at that time was, this will be an easy class. It's my senior year. I can take it easy. I can get friendly with some girls. And I didn't have the love for it yet. It was just something I thought would be fun. And the first show I did with you was Brighton Beach Memoirs. And I really started to get the bug then because I had a really cool part. I have a lot of trouble watching it now because it was, it was such a amateur, but yeah, going to those schools, going to rehearsal, and I struggled because I didn't want to sing. I remember that really well, and I remember working on the music with Mr. Arnold, and he threw me out of his room because I said to him, I was struggling with it, and I said to him, it's because I don't want to sing this, because I didn't know yet how to have fun with it, how to, I just thought I had to sing, just like a serious song. And and I remember telling him I don't want to sing, and I remember I think I even had some conversations with you. I was trying to, like work out, some, like I was willing to pay you to keep the parts. I love the part, but can we get somebody else to sing, And I remember telling Mr. Arnold I didn't want to sing, and he threw me out of his room. He grabbed the music sheet out of my hands. He said, "Get out." And I was floored because I had a great relationship with him as well, and I loved him, and I was floored that he threw me out. And then going to those elementary schools, because in the play, we have the full orchestra, and everything is blocked perfectly. You have to be here for this and here for that, and you can't, if you miss your cue, the orchestra can't stop and start over. You just have to catch up. Where then going to these elementary schools, obviously we didn't have a full orchestra with us. It was just Mr. Arnold on the piano, and he was taking some liberties and having some fun with it. And I was able, I just gave him a look, and I hear the laughter, and it all just clicked, and I was able to play with him. Like I knew he was playing with me, so I played with him back, and we were looking at each other and having laughs. And each performance, like you said, 8 performances, and each one we did it more and more, and we had our own little bit going on. That was like you talk about your transformative moment. That was mine. That's right. Oh, this is what, this is comedy. This is fun. This is performing, and then seeing all those elementary school kids laughing, meeting them after. A lot of times they were asking for autographs, which, for a high school kid, that's, what's cooler than people asking for your autograph when you're a kid like that?
It worked so well because the elementary school kids were a non-threatening audience.
Oh, okay.
So we're really able to try things and get out there and conquer a lot of stage fright, which everybody gets.
Sure.
Because it wasn't like being there in front of your peers.
Right.
So,
but you're then able to transfer that
to
going in front of your peers and adults and everybody and letting it all go. And that's why I was able to then sing that song in a comedic way and make it work where, in a way that I'd be comfortable doing it. And then, seeing the reactions and hearing the reactions and still, taking it seriously, but still trying to impress the girls. And, you gain that, that was always the best, going to school the next day after the show, and then everybody, oh, that was great. I love this. Or this guy was great. And it's king of the world, man. You're king of the world. And also, I know I'm talking a lot. There was also, and I don't remember his name. I'll have to see if I can find it. I do remember going to elementary schools, and there was this one kid. You might even know what I'm talking about. He was a redheaded kid. I can see his face. And he was amazed by it all. And then after that, I would see him around Hicksville, at the supermarket or whatever. Every time I saw him, he made a point to come see me and say hi, and I always remembered who he was from that day. And then, sure enough, he went on to do plays once he got to high school. And
Joe Williams, yes.
What was it?
Joe Williams.
Joe Williams. I do think that's it. Kind of a stocky guy?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he was one of many who came up to the high school and said, I still remember seeing this show or that show. They remembered it from then. It was inspiring for the kids.
Yeah.
And gave them something to look forward to. Also, the role models that you guys were for these young kids, to know that they could still be very manly and, and cool and do theater, come into the classes, be in the shows, because after all, they saw you do it and these other guys who were on the football team. And so it was okay. I think you did a lot for a lot of kids. Again, it's planting seeds. You never know exactly what influence you're going to have. But I feel that all of you high school students going down there were wonderful role models for those kids.
Where'd that idea come from? To bring us to the elementary schools.
when I was doing shows at NYU, there was one day that we took one of the shows around. And that's what made me think of it when, we always draw on our experiences.
Yeah.
And I really had to do a lot of selling to get permission to take kids out of school for 2 days. And Mr. Hogan was principal at the time. It
Yeah.
was my first year at Hicksville, and everybody was trying to make the program a success. So I think that they said yes only for that reason. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been able to do that. But it really worked out, and then it became a tradition. And one year, when there were fewer elementary schools, I'm trying to remember, I couldn't work out the schedule with
Oh, wow.
everyone. Or maybe they only allowed me one day. I don't remember. There was a reason that I couldn't hit all of the elementary schools. And Dick Hogan, who was principal, called me into his office and he said, "So I have to tell you, I got a call from this principal, whoever he was, and he was very irate because his school was left out of the tour."
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Well, we got to call early because, she only could take the kids out for so many days." And I had teachers tell me that of all the programs that they brought in from the outside, ours was the most educational. They liked it best because the kids related so well to seeing other students, and it wasn't just a show. It really gave them a lot of information about what they could be like and what they could do in the future.
Wow.
It's a good program. It worked out well. And I think they're still doing it.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Still continuing.
Oh,
I
that's
hope-
nice. That
I know
must
so
be a
many
nice feeling.
schools bring the elementary school kids in for a special performance for the elementary students.
Sure.
To my way of thinking, that doesn't do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Because here we went to them and they saw, and it gave the actors, it was my kids I was most interested in, gave them the experience of performing in front of a non-threatening audience many times. I think it helped. I think that's one of the things that helped bring the level of our shows up, that they were no longer rehearsing, they had already been performing.
Right. Does the fact that, because I do remember a few times where, as students, we would, go into school, obviously, with a bunch of other students, and sometimes we would see the brother or sister of one of our classmates. So do you think that had anything, that maybe gave them some kind of comfortability with that, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's never only one thing. It's never only one thing.
Yeah, true.
Of course, what we had to work with then in terms of facilities was very different from what it is now. We had curtains that jammed and lights that were constantly going out, the old dimmer packs.
Yep.
And one story I have to share with you, you may even have been there at the time, was, no, you probably were, it would have been after you, but that main drape still jammed, and we still had those other curtains that jammed like crazy.
I do remember that, yeah.
And we closed the curtain for after one of the acts, and there was a solo going on in front of the curtain. And Mr. Quinlan at the time knew that curtain was not going to open smoothly the next time. So in the dark, while she was singing in front, he brought out a ladder and got onto the ladder and back to unjam the curtain at that point. And one of the crew kids saw the ladder out on stage and ran out and took it away and left him dangling from the bar for the rest of the number until it ended. And during the applause, they were able to run the ladder back out so he could get down. Yeah, that was one of our.
That's fantastic. I was definitely not there for that. Holy moly, that's fantastic.
But I was thinking, here's a crew kid who was so committed to the show that he saw something wrong. He ran out and tried to fix it.
Yeah.
Of course, the fact that he really fixed it is beside the point. Yeah,
that's great.
And a lot of dedicated kids. And I have to say that over the years, once Jimmy Quinlan left and a couple of years later, I hired Sam back. He had been an amazing student. She came in being able to build anything. And then the best thing I ever did was to hire her back as tech director.
Yeah.
Because not only could she do everything, but she had a wonderful rapport with the crew and built up our crew numbers, and the crew became as important to the production as the people on stage.
Yes.
And of course she was wonderful to work with, but she had also been there when the painting was being done at the end, and you had to tell the actors, be careful walking on set because the paint is still wet. And she knew how much I hated that, how I felt it was wrong. And she made things happen. She was absolutely a dream to work with, and I'm very grateful that I had Sam there all those years.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and she flat left us and moved to North Carolina like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. And I still miss her. She was one of the few that I kept in touch with. And she used to babysit my kids when they were babies, and she's great. Yeah, I still miss her.
And some of her crew kids are still really, really close friends. Talk about the bonding that happens
Yeah.
in the theater. It really is a collaborative art, and nobody can do theater by himself. You can play your instrument by yourself, you can paint a picture by yourself, but you can't do theater by yourself.
Right. Absolutely. It's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. That's and I appreciate you bringing up Sam. I wouldn't have wanted to forget to do that. So that's great. But now let me backtrack a little bit with because through the years I've been involved in the school. I was a SEPTA president in the Wanto district. So getting involved with the school but still being on the outside. But I saw enough where knowing what you brought in and talking about, traveling to the different elementary schools and whatnot, that would be, if that was today, you would probably, I hate to say it, but it would probably never get off the ground.
Right. I agree.
But because what you had touched upon that a few minutes ago, because they were trying to rebuild the theater program at school, so it was more receptive, and you were able to.
That year, for 1 year,
Yeah.
1 year only, I was Golden Girl. And because they really wanted me to make it work, I got support with everything. It wasn't just that, it was the cast party. I came in to Hicksville knowing what cast parties were like. And school cast parties had terrible reputations, and the theater kids had terrible reputations. And those cast parties at other schools had lots of drinking and vandalism, all kinds of nasty stuff. And I felt very protective. You guys were all my children, and I really wanted things to be right for you. And so I, again, learned from something that had happened at NYU. One time we had our cast party actually on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that's what I want to do. Not on stage, but keep it in the school. And I went to Mr. Hogan after, this was Greece, it was our first show. And I said, I want to have the cast party in school. And that means we have to stay later. I need permission to have everybody stay later. And he was going, I don't know if I can do that. The custodians have to stay. I can put in to have you have permission to stay there. I said, look, it's going to be chaperoned. I'm an old school mom. We will have people there. Husband will be there. Doors will be locked. Nobody can leave and come back. It will be a school event, school rules. And nobody will be there except the people involved in the show. No boyfriends, no girlfriends, nobody but cast and crew. And that way, everybody's wired at the end of a show.
Oh, yeah.
And my gosh, the adrenaline is flowing, and we could handle all of that in school, in a safe environment. And when it was over, the seniors, they could go out and still do their thing, but they wouldn't be wired anymore. And for the freshmen who wouldn't otherwise, many of them were not allowed to come until I did a real selling act with the parents. They could be there at the cast party. And he said, just understand that anything you do this year, you're setting a precedent. So if you do this year, you have to be prepared to do it every year. And I said, yeah, it's what I want.
Right.
And it became our tradition. And I'm very proud of having done that because I think it kept the kids together. The boyfriends and girlfriends could come after the party. They could still go out with them, but nobody was going out wired where they were at risk.
Yeah. So you must have been pretty concerned because I do remember the Anything Goes cash party where me and Brian Thomas showed up in togas. So I don't know, you were probably keeping a close eye, making sure that we were on our best behavior.
You guys were never a problem.
Yeah, we were.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, we were trying to have fun. We had our moments, but it was just trying to have fun. And it's funny you talk about like the dedication because I do remember. It's funny. I love talking to people from back then because all this stuff just comes flooding back, and I could probably go on for hours here. But I do remember I don't remember what show it was, but I do remember in the middle of a show, there were some kids trying to get into the school through one of the doors behind the stage, and I remember they had beers with them, and there were some of us trying to tell them no, you like. Usually you think, oh, there's another student, this kid will let me in, and we wouldn't let them in, and we didn't want to get in any trouble, and yeah, we almost. We're in the middle of the show, and we were almost kind of going at it with them.
Those were the days before they had hired security.
Yes.
And we did have a lot of issues, which of course led to their hiring security in the building.
Yeah.
But it was all on us. And sometimes there wasn't even an administrator present. And it was just us who had to keep things going and keep things under control.
And it's so funny to me to look at it now because it was such a different world. I mean, we would stay till we would stay 7, 8, 9 o'clock every night. The thing.
Well, not rehearsing so much as doing sets. Yeah, we did rehearse later. Yeah.
Yeah, you just
Not normally. Yeah.
Yeah, but you just don't see that. I don't. People now be like, oh my God! Like even like I mentioned, I did a little theater at Hicksville High School before you were there. I was just talking about it with my mother recently. It was a regular thing. It wasn't every night, but it was regular. We would sometimes we wouldn't get out of it till almost midnight.
I know. I totally disapprove of that.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher first.
Sure.
You guys are students first. And I absolutely did not believe that it was acceptable to have you there all hours because, of course, grades would suffer. And you were students first.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree, but I do feel at the same time, like for me personally, I wouldn't change a thing, even going as early or late, however you look at it, at the times that we went to, where now I think a lot of people or parents will, oh no, I would never do that. Things are just so different now.
They are in many cases, but there's no one size fits all. There are so many schools where they put in lots and lots of time and long hours, and I think that's the nature of theater.
Right.
That you do it till it's done. I remember one of the first shoots I was ever on, I made the big mistake of asking what time we were going to be done, and I had my head handed to me. We're done when we're done. That's the one question you never ask. But in school, we really had to get out. I had to assure parents, kids were being picked up. They needed to get out on time. A lot of the kids at Hicksville had jobs after school.
Yeah.
Needed to be able to get to their jobs. A lot of them rearranged schedules and worked hard to make it work and got special permission from bosses to come late. But we needed to have a predictable end time. Except for Tech Week. At Tech Week,
right,
all bets were off. That was when we go until we're done. But aside from Tech Week, I did promise that I would get them out on time.
Do you think? And I've had other teachers in here, and I ask this question every time. There are so many. For me, from my experience, I wouldn't change a thing. I loved my childhood. I loved Hicksville. And again, you and Mr. Arnold and Artie Horowitz, just you guys are on a whole other level for me. But there's other teachers as well. Quinlan, Mary Stay, just so many wonderful. I thought there were some
Wonderful teachers at Hicksville.
a lot of wonderful teachers. Mr. Hogan as well. We loved Mr. Hogan. He was actually a family friend, and we loved him. There were some doozies as well, but there was a lot of great teachers there. But so the question is, because I spent a lot of time with you. I spent a lot of time with Mr. Arnold. You guys, would give us me and the other students a ride home at the end of the night. I went to a Mets game with Mr. Horowitz once. I went to a Met game with Mr. Metzendorf. I don't know if you knew Mr. Metzendorf. He was a science teacher. Went to a Met game with him. You guys really just kind of helped shape us, and you guys were mentors. And not that it's a bad thing these days to be so careful, but do you think the mentorship aspect is gone, or do you think it's still there, it's just different?
Oh, absolutely. The mentorship is still there. Teachers are teachers, and we care about our students. There are a lot of cautionary behaviors that we have to adopt now. I was breaking rules even then. We were clearly not allowed to give you rides home.
Oh, even then you weren't?
Oh, never was allowed.
I never knew that.
Broke rules like crazy for you guys, right? No, I mean, insurance-wise, it was. In fact, I got a car after my first year at Hicksville. I've been still driving the old beat-up station wagon, and which we got when Scott was born, and I wanted to see if the job would last. It was only a 4/5 job the first year, but then I said, okay. So I got a car, and I got a Camaro, which I loved. Figuring I'm the only one who's going to be driving this. I don't need a big car.
Right.
Then I wound up taking 5 kids home in it.
Yep.
And I'll never forget Dave Danowski, who was a tall basketball player,
Yeah.
sitting in the back seat with his chin on his knees.
Yeah. Dave sprouted early.
Roll over, and you didn't have rides, and no, it was what I did for you. Right?
Yeah. Do you remember going to the elementary schools and we attempted a Chinese fire drill on you guys?
Yes, that was when I had to drive the minibus.
Right.
And here I was driving the bus with all of you guys in it. And yes, I remember that.
Poor Dawn Tranker was just.
I'm driving that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
It was years later that they sprang for the cost of a bus to take us around. Up until then, we were a zero budget operation.
Yeah. We were sitting at the red light. Dawn Tranker jumped out, and then the light turned green. So you start to go, and then Dawn Tranker's just stuck on the middle of Old Country Road.
You were always a source of endless entertainment.
That is a very politically correct way of putting it.
In theater, you can have a lot of fun, much
yeah.
more so than you can in another class, because we're all, in a sense, equal in theater. I mean, there's a hierarchy in terms of being the director, but nobody cares if you're a senior or a freshman. You have
It's true.
roles to play. You become your characters, and there's a kind of bonding and ensemble feeling,
Yep.
which was very important to me to build. I'm a strong believer in no competition on the high school level. And this puts me at odds with a lot of what happens. Certainly Thespians, which is a huge theater organization, is based on competition. They have competitions, and they go, and the kids love it, and a lot of people think it's wonderful. It's absolutely contrary to my philosophy of high school theater, teaching theater, because if you're competing, you're not going to take risks. You're going to do what feels safe. I think had we been in a competition, you would never have opened up in Bluebird the way you did. You have to feel that you're in a safe environment, and a safe environment to be truly creative means that you're not competing. You have to be okay to fail. You have to try it knowing, if it doesn't work, it's okay. But if you're in competition, then it changes the nature of what you do things and how you do them. And so, although it's a competitive world, I understand that. But for so many kids, getting up there is really an act of faith. They're very scared. They're very nervous, and all you need is to hear one person say something negative, and they will never try it again.
Right. 'Cause at that age, high school's your whole world. I mean, today in this day and age where everything is on the internet, I don't know how kids do it. Just being in high school, that's your whole world, and everything depended on what everybody said about you.
That's right.
Now, with this, to have the whole world see it on the internet, I don't know. Yeah, that would.
It's a very, very tough situation.
Yeah.
And I think that, look, let's face it, you do something and you get 100 great comments and one bad one. What's the one that keeps you at night? The one that you'll remember for the rest of your life
Right.
is that one negative. And I feel that that's so detrimental, that there's so much negativity that the kids have to face and learn to overcome.
I see that here. You know, I'm in a comedy club right now as we speak, and the comedians talk about it all the time. They're crushing it. The crowd is going nuts. There's that one guy that's not laughing, and that's what they're talking about when they come off the stage. It's funny how that works, but and I love what you just said. You know, that's why I hate things like American Idol. Everything's a competition. No, let them just hone it and work it and be great at it.
Wherever there's competition, there always is going to be a loser. And I didn't want kids ever to feel that they were losers for trying something. They were winners because they tried something. We don't always have a successful outcome, but you have to try.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to read one comment, then I have two more questions for you, and I won't take any more of your time up. Carol Rubin, I don't know if you remember Carol Rubin. She said Mike Scheck was a good intro for us to be able to bring our best foot forward into the high school. Which, that's nice of her to remember him that way too.
Yes, middle school.
Yeah.
Junior.
Do you have other students that of yours that have kept going with this, or am I the only one that keeps on bugging you?
Oh, no, I'm still in touch with many of the students, and I love it. We exchange cards. Sometimes we're on the phone a lot. Some of them have gone on to teach.
Oh, nice.
And teach theater, teach music. It really has, I think, affected their lives, many of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always very grateful that we're still in touch. Some of them came up to the Nice conference to give workshops. Nice is something that we didn't have the student conference in your day. It was the teachers conference, New York State Theater Education Association, which is still going strong, and it is the best network for high school theater teachers. But we do a student conference now where the kids come up for the weekend and take workshops and all kinds of acting, dancing, music, tech, everything you can. And it's 100% non-competitive.
Nice.
Very, very important. Sometimes if they want to show things, they can come. We call it a festival, but not a competition. And some of them came back and actually taught workshops there. Doug Castillo, Louis Pinto came and did stunts for us.
Oh, wow.
Stage combat. Yeah, so that was nice, a nice turnaround where they do continue. And for me, the best compliment was when somebody came back from college and said, I want you to know I am not a theater major. It's not what I want to do with my life, but I'm a theater minor because I wanted to keep it in my life. And that's when I felt, okay, I made a difference.
Oh, absolutely. So much. You made, so much of a difference to a lot of people. And again, I can't ever thank you enough for everything. Really, that's what I've been saying. I said at the top of the show here. It really is. It's everything because you get into. I guess that's the case with any job that anybody has. It just it takes over their lives and it everything revolves around it. So
I think if you're able to spend your life's work doing something that you love, you're very lucky because there's drudgery connected to everything.
Yeah.
If you can basically be doing what you love, then I think you're lucky.
We so one of our so yeah, our viewers here. One of them, her name is Ann Rothney. She's in California, and she says, "Thank you, Judy. You're amazing." Another fellow who actually lives not too far from you, John Rusielli, says, "Totally agree. What a wonderful lady." And Vicky Remical Grimm again says, so glad you had the show today. Thanks for sharing and being such a tremendous supportive teacher, Miss P. Happy holidays to you. Yeah. I'll just quickly ask, all right, two things. One, I want to know how retirement is and what you're doing. And then I'm going to ask everybody to put the pressure on because I've been trying to get Miss P. A lot of you guys know, we've been making a series of films around here. I've been trying to get Miss P to do a scene with me. So I want everybody to put the pressure on and tell her to do it so she'll come up here and do it.
We'll see.
So how is retirement? What are you doing with yourself?
Well, retirement is very different. You can't take a vacation from it all the time. I find that I'm busy, but busy with a lot of different things. And of course, it's changed a lot now. To begin with, Lee and I traveled a lot, and that was one of the reasons that he retired. And I retired because he retired. I certainly wasn't ready. But we did some wonderful traveling, which is not possible when you're teaching. Now I've made some wonderful friends. I've gotten back to dancing. I was able to do Zumba for a while, and now I'm doing line dancing. So as long as I have dance in my life of some form, then I'm good. And of course, Florida weather right now is gorgeous. During the summer, it's a sauna, but right now we're getting into the time of year, which is the reason that people move to Florida.
That's right.
I'm still very physically active. I was a dancer all my life. I'm still dancing. I walk 3 miles a day. I swim. I need that. That's who I am. I miss New York. I miss the theater. I miss you guys. I miss the theater. I miss working with teenagers. I did volunteer for a literacy program for a while, but that ended with COVID and has not been resurrected. That's my goal.
And so you're willing to get up and dance for us right now? I'm totally kidding.
Absolutely not.
Miss P, and yes, I will always call you Miss P. I just can't seem to call you anything else. I can't thank you enough for this. I really could have. I don't think I even got to half the stuff I was going to ask you. I could easily do this forever, and show or not, I could easily just keep on doing this because you're just one of my favorite people ever, and this was a big thrill for me. And the comments are still coming in. What a lovely, beautiful lady! Yeah, this was great. I can't thank you enough. Happy holidays, and yeah, maybe we can at some point do this again. But
I'm honored to be on it, and truly, Tony, the fact that after all of these years, you still want to be in touch, that it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, and thank you for not calling the police, for me stalking you so much. So I really do appreciate this. This really was a great time. Happy holidays, you and your family and your boys, your grandkids, and and we'll talk again soon.
To all of you, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you. All right, there we go. Judi Paseltiner, that was cool. Thank you guys for letting me do that. That was a big deal for me. Look at that. Let me get rid of that. Let me fix that. Let me do that. Okay. All right, so it is time for us to get out of here. Let me see. Let me just yeah, she's beautiful. Is she located in South Florida? Yeah, John, she's in the Palm Beach area, so she's not far from you at all. But you just relax. You have Ann, you have Dawn. You're coming after Diane, so just relax. Just stay home and get your teeth fixed first. All right. It is time for us to go. What do we got going on? I think this is it for our week. I don't think Don's on tonight. And we don't have anything this weekend. Unless you want to come on out to McGuire's. Come join us. I'd love to see you. The Big Murder Mystery at McGuire's in Bohemia. Tomorrow night, showtime is at 7. Come join us. We'd love to see you. Immediately after that, at McGuire's is... Well, why is that so close? You can't see the whole thing. There we go. Boom. Yeah, immediately after our show, stick around at McGuire's because John Butera is putting on a show with some great comedians. Emily Santosis. Yeah, a lot of great guys. Mike Delaquila. So join us, please. That would be fun. Meanwhile, at some of the other comedians you'll see at some of the other clubs, Joe DeVito, who is just amazing. John Butera's got another show going on. Alvin Kwai, Gaspar Randazzo, Joe Matarese. Let's see, Teddy Smith is next week. The Uncle Louie Variety Show is next week as well. Also next week is Sean Brown. And then don't forget January 24th, the Fresh Brewed Comedy Show. And, of course, don't forget as well at Westbury Music Fair on December 27th, David Clark. That's going to be a lot of fun. So go to govs.com and make your reservations to some great comedy shows. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com to see what we got going on, see our full schedule, as well as information on how you can hire us for your corporate event, your fundraiser, your private event. Just want to make money, whatever you got going on. All right, so next week, our schedule is a little different next week because because of the holidays. So Monday's a big day here. Coffee with the Dog at 9 a.m. We're here at 11 a.m. We got Jeff Skelzy. We got Nigel Fulton. We got Mario and Deb Diamore. We have Brendan Burt is going to join us that day as well. That's at 11 a.m. Treading Water at 1 a.m. Sports Bash at 3 a.m. Steve Squared at 6:30 p.m. Let Them Cook 8 p.m. Hershey and the Keegs at 9:30. There's a lot going on Monday. And then that's it. We're done for the holidays. Well, that's Monday. Tuesday we're off. Wednesday we're off. Thursday we're off. Next Friday, the 27th, we'll be back in here. Coffee with the Dog at 9 a.m. We're here at 11 a.m. Sports Bash at 1. Primal Scream at 4 o'clock. So that's next Friday. And then that's it. We're done until then we're completely done until January 2nd. So a lot going on. Don't forget this Monday as well. We're going to post the radio play. Also, so the radio play I've explained to you, that's Frank. He put together. He took an old radio play of our grandfathers that was recorded on December 23rd, 1947. He kind of cleaned up the audio a little bit. So we're going to post that Monday morning on the anniversary. It's a Christmas play. And unfortunately, I can't tell you anything more about it because I only listened to it once, and that was like probably 30 years ago. But what we're also going to do, so Frank also has put together 2 videos, and they're 2.5 hours each, of a bunch of music performances that we've had in here since Frank has been bringing in the musical guests. So I think I'm going to post one of them on Christmas Eve, and then post the second one on Christmas morning. So that way, if you're hanging out with your family and friends, and you want some music in the background, well, there you go. You'll have that. It's not all Christmas songs. Most of it's not Christmas songs, but so what? So I'm going to do that next week. All right. And with that, it is time to get out of here. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Thank you again. This was a big thrill for me to have Miss P on here. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Interesting stuff, a couple of laughs. But just like when I was in high school, man, always had something interesting to say. Love that, adore that woman. So, nice to see her. All right, everybody have a great weekend. And, we'll catch you guys on Monday. Thanks, guys. See you later.